Oui. Yeah, I do believe we're live. So, I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution, on another opportunity for us to consider all the things our body has forgotten, all the things our minds have forgotten, but our bodies remember. That's kind of like the gist of what I want to talk about today. I have a scar on my forehead. Looks like a cut. And when I came back from China, that was the first time that my mom had ever seen that scar. And then she asked me where I had gotten it. And thinking that it's new, thinking that I got it in China potentially. And I told her, no, I've had that since before China. And I can't remember, in fact, where I got it. Right? And I spotted that scar again today. I don't know if you can see it actually. Maybe I can show you. There it is. That scar right there. Right? And it remains. Clearly, my body remembers something that I don't. And then I was thinking about that as it relates to the stuff that we do to ourselves. Right? How much does my body remember that my mind has forgotten? Especially as we extend into the future, right? Especially if we're going to live for an extended period of time, longer than we used to live. I believe that that's only going to increase. I then had a yoga practice, as we do, and I shared that same message with the friends as well, that you might forget mentally, right, that you were practicing yoga for the last 20 years. But your body knows and remembers and is actively reminding you of that fact. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers is what I grew up hearing. Sam, it's awesome that you choose to say that line specifically. Sam, I visit that one often. Like, I read that line just yesterday. And I wasn't going to include this in my little introduction of today's topic, Sam, but this also influenced me talking about today's topic. It was this post about I want to about it, but it was a post about someone talking about parents, right? Almost like reminding parents that, hey, parents, you 20 years from now won't remember that your child didn't finish their food, but your child will remember you yelling at them because they didn't, right? And then as I was like reading through the comments, there were so many fractals of people talking about the harm that their parents had done to them, right? Verbally, sometimes physically as well. And in hindsight, their parents don't even remember. Most of the parents don't remember the stuff that they had done, the stuff that they had said, but the children do, right? And that was in part like a part of the background information in choosing today's stream topic. Thank you for adding that, Sam. It is true. The the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Being being harsh is not something that really goes under the radar. To say it in so many words, I set up this stream perspective today because I did want to go and get on the swing. So I think I'm gonna do so. I feel uninspired a little bit, just a little bit uninspired as of late. You know, I don't know if it's something specific. It's just like I'm in a state of limbo a little bit. Like I'm waiting. You know, I am. But I think I need to meditate more. I think that's what I'm being called to. I was like asking, like, how can I remedy this thing I'm feeling? And I'm like, I need to meditate more. Reminds me of the book that Zana recommended, The Body Keeps the Score, which I still haven't read yet. It is kind of like that stuff, especially as it relates to yoga. I have noticed in myself, Mojo, and it's a blessing having you here, how when I do yoga, especially so when I do poses that are especially uncomfortable, right? There is a certain like trauma response that happens inside of me where I have this whole fractal unfolding in me of like all the stuff that I thought I had dealt with, you know? And then suddenly, when I'm in that stretch, it becomes apparent that no, in fact, I didn't. This swing is trash. I mean, I thought it would be. I haven't actually gotten on it yet. It's not. It's not level up there. It's level down here, but it's not level up there. And I thought that maybe if it was level down here, it will be fine. But it seems to have like a mind of its own. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, joys of swinging. Saw a video just like I think this morning or yesterday of a cat that likes to be on the swing as well. You know, the owner takes his cat for a walk and then cat jumps on swing, expecting the person to push them. I don't know, like I don't know if I like this. I think it could be nice if you just want to sit. It's a nice floating seat. Yes, I can see it serving this function. It's a nice view. Get to see the mountains. But I don't know if it's a good swing. No. Mm. Yeah. All right, all right, all right. I'll come and sit down again. I catch myself opening the books that glow. As I get older, reading books gets harder. That's not a swing, that's a swirl. I love that, Joe. Thank you. That cracks me up. Exactly. Going for a spin on the swirl. It was very swirly, indeed. Same, Joe. Hard to focus. Damn devices. Yeah, it's a dopamine thing, right? Dopamine is your brain's belief, right? It convincing itself of a potential reward in the pursuit or in the participation of some sort of activity, right? So when we, and there's a balance between pain and pleasure, right? So what happens with our devices is that as we're swiping stuff, right, no matter what it is, not every single one of the things we see we find rewarding, right? Valuable, for instance. So what ends up happening is we have this almost like response, this pain response, dopamine pain response, where since you were unsatisfied with this post, your brain has this negativity bias where it's like, oh, I'm now at a loss. So maybe if I continue doing this thing, I'll get this reward that I'm looking for. And then maybe you do. Excuse me, oh, thank you for the blessings. And maybe you do find a video that you actually enjoy. And then there is again that dopamine response. We are like, oh, good. I'm happy that I saw that. And then it goes back into the fractal of now you have shown yourself that there is a potential reward. And then it creates this feedback loop. And as it relates to reading books, it's much more difficult to convince our brains that there is any reward for us to get from reading, right? One, it's not nearly as appealing when it comes to the colors and the movements and the novelty that comes with video as a medium. And two, spending time reading a book takes a lot of time, right? If you're actually going to read a book, hey Bedell, it's not something that you can just do in a second or in an instance. videos have this kind of instance type of reality, right? Like I can watch a 2-minute Vsauce video and I can learn something valuable or at least interesting at the very least, right? And that's 2 minutes. And then I get the reward that is the valuable information. Where reading a book might take 2 weeks. And then as I'm spending the time in these 2 weeks trying to read this book, there is this sunk cost fallacy of like, one, I want to finish reading the book. And two, I don't know if reading the book is going to be as rewarding. So should I finish it? Right. And as a result, it's become significantly more difficult for us as people to read books, unfortunately. I don't think it's the device's fault. I just think it's a quirk of our biology, the way our dopamine systems work. As a result, you can technically train yourself, right? If you want to read a book, try not reading a book first, right? Try not having a cell phone. Try sitting in an empty room for a day, right? Then suddenly, having a book there with you is the best. Now it's great. Now I love reading a book because there's nothing else for me to do. And it is difficult to expect that of ourselves, unfortunately. Good morning, all you magnificent bastards. Hey, Prairie Wolf. It's nice having you here, friend. You've been missed. How are you doing? How's life treating you? Is there anything present for you? Have you remembered something? Today we're having this conversation about how the body remembers what the mind forgets. We talked a little bit about, you know what? Let's even do that. We're having a conversation today about how the body will remember things that the mind forgets. It started off with me telling my community about a scar that I have on my body that I don't remember how I got it. But it's clear that something happened, and my body clearly remembers what happened because I still have that scar. And as I introduced this topic to my friends, one of them mentioned the book, The Body Keeps a Score. And I would like to know a summary, have a summary of that book and its core themes and its core message. And maybe you can give us some perspective. I find myself very much preoccupied with trying to take as good care of my body as I can, so that when my time comes and my mind forgets, all of the benefits that has come with my yoga practice and taking good care of my health, I won't have to think about it, right? Maybe that's why we forget. It's because it's not something that really requires our attention. So I give my attention to the things that allows me to not give my attention. It's a little bit backwards, I guess, but help me create some nuance in this conversation. I feel frazzled, yo. I feel like my mind is having a hard time. Again, I'm like, maybe I should meditate more. Hey, Melita, maybe I should meditate more, right? Maybe that's gonna help. Maybe. Prairie, you beautiful bitch. Love you. What I miss the most about you, my young body, is not being aware of it. You see, Prairie Wolf, that's the thing with yoga, right? Is it pushes that fractal out. I'm frazzled too. You too. I even had a conversation with Jo last night a little bit, and her mentioning that she's feeling a little bit antsy as well. Jo does have a lot more going on. Jo's sister is bringing a baby into this world today, right? So maybe it's not completely one-to-one, but maybe there is some frazzle. Is there a frazzle happening in the air right now? What's happening? What's happening, universe? Tell me. I hope that you're fine, dear Melita. Is there anything in particular frazzling you? Let us know. Small world, Malman, being a min. A mermaid? A min? It's nice having you here too, Hoopy. It's hot, bro. Like, it's actually hot. I don't really want you on my lap. He doesn't seem to care. Here's my spot now. all of this place on the farm, and right here is the most comfortable place to be. Existence itself just feels weird and gooey. Yeah, it has that quality to it. Agreed. Right. But again, existence itself is this thing too. This thing is weird and gooey. And gooey weirdo. Huh? Huh, you weirdo gooers? It is kind of like that. I hope you're staying healthy, you know. Despite the weird and gooiness, get enough sleep. I think that might be a part of it as well. I've been trying to take naps. I read a study about it being like better for your brain health in the long term, right? People that take regular naps have like decreased risk of dementia and stuff like that. So I've definitely been like applying that information, but I think I'm overdoing it. I think I might be napping too much, right? I'm napping for like close to 40 minutes a day. Bro, I'm not comfortable. Oh, please. This is not comfortable. I don't like this. Thank you. It's just like having like big old thing of warm on me groin. While it's already like hot enough for me to be sweating. It's like, nah, I'm actually okay. I'm missing a couple of comments. Let me open it here. Bless you, friends. It's so nice having you here with me. Sending you so much love. OD on chamomile tea. It's a wonderful tea. I haven't had much chamomile in my life, but I would like more. Maybe that will calm me down as well. Gosh, Prairie, my life didn't start getting better at all until I became aware of my body. Coincidentally, this happened right around the time I found yoga. Yeah. For me too, in that way, interestingly enough, Sam. I was introduced to yoga by Christian, right? And before that time in my life, I had this bias slash conviction that yoga wasn't real exercise, right? I basically got fit lifting weights, right? Doing bench press and weighted squats and curls, right? Like very. This dog is like trying to get me to no, no. You can sit here next to me, bro. You can sit here. Right, there you sit. You sit like that. Yeah, sitting like that. No, no, no. You can sit here, nice and sitting. I miss Christian. Christian's still here. No, bro. It's hot. Oh, like I appreciate the love. I really do. But it is going to be excessively uncomfortable for you to be on my lap right now, right? Maybe if we have a fan blasting on us, or if the world was air conditioned. No, this guy is like, maybe if I approach a little bit slower. There we go. Yeah, that's better. You can just sit there. Yeah, you have some parasites, so you got parasites on your body. You got parasites. Not anymore? No, no, no. You should take your foot off me. Take your foot off me, you cretin. Puts another foot on me. No, no. Here's freaking guy. So yeah, right. Like I had this conviction that yoga was in fact not real exercise because how hard can it be? I said. And then Christian introduced me to what's called vinyasa, vinyasa yoga, and I had my ass handed to me so extraordinarily that I had to reevaluate my biases. Right, I was changed because suddenly I realized that I had to be able to move, or that other people could move in ways that I didn't even have the mind muscle connection in order to facilitate. Right, like it was suddenly clear to me that I was like, oh yeah, I'm not nearly as strong as I could be, and that made me so much more aware of my body. And I haven't stopped practicing yoga since. It really has been a meaningful adaptation to my life. If you don't do yoga, go and do some research. Go and see what the science says about yoga and how it influences our genetics, even. It literally affects our epigenetic expression, down regulating, our cortisol response, up regulating our body's repair mechanisms. Some cool stuff. I've always had that thought, Mal. Like, why does life require this constant, annoying liquid interchange? I just put that water there. Where? Why do we have to move it? Yeah, it's a process thing, right? If you like, I like to think about my body as a laboratory, right? And everything that I put inside of my laboratory becomes like the base ingredients that my laboratory manufactures chemicals with, right? My dopamine and serotonin, melatonin and DMT, right? And as I breathe, that's an input. And as I drink water, that's an input. And as I eat food, that's an input. And the things I look at and the things I hear, inputs, inputs, inputs. And then my body produces so much chemicals. And water, when it comes to the need to go to the bathroom again, facilitates the movement of waste, right? But some chemicals are spent. Some chemicals are supposed to be outside of the body because them staying there wouldn't facilitate your well-being. So that's the way I see it, at the very least. Cool, MeltMore. Hey, Fajal. It's nice having you here again, friend. Sending you love. Let me go back to the comments. I love chamomile. I want a chamomile garden. The bees and butterflies love them too. Well, it sounds like a good thing to me. Being able to harvest our own chamomile tea, facilitating the bees and the butterflies' happiness as well. It sounds like wins all around. This dude, has been running around. So many things trying to eat him. All right. And if you don't move it, it will move on its own, Sam. It's also true. That's great advice. I stretch a lot. Should I give yoga a try? I would recommend it. I am, of course, biased. I am a certified yogi, so I have definitely gone into the deep end, but you won't regret it, right? I don't think there's a single person. I mean, unless you hurt yourself doing something that was a little bit beyond your abilities, that's the one opportunity for regret. But if you do yoga and you do yoga that is in your means, and again, yoga is your practice. So while you're following a class, if the person doing something there is like, and you're like, I can't do that, then don't. There's no shame in that either, right? Wait for them to finish that pose and then join them on the next one. Right? And then after that, if you're like, oh, I really hated doing yoga, right? I'll be surprised. I'll be like, what? You what now? It's very unlikely. Most people do find some joy in that practice. That's why emotions are associated with water. Absolutely. Mel happens to be a yoga teacher, Wolf, and he's a wonderful teacher. Thank you, Sam. That's so wholesome. I do have a daily class, and I do provide it for free as well. You can, of course, pay me if you want to, but I say this a lot, and I like saying it because it feels like one of the things that I stand for is that it's more important to me that you practice yoga than it is for me to get paid, right? It's like you practicing yoga takes higher priority than me having money. Because again, I believe that there's less money necessary, quite literally, when more people practice yoga. If everybody just like dropped a bunch of their bad habits and started doing yoga, the world will save trillions. Look at me. Trillions of dollars over the next few decades. We might end up spending money on other things, right? Because again, it's like one of those things where people that do yoga become more mindful of their bodies. And then as you become more mindful of your body, suddenly your decisions as it relates to your sleep and as it relates to your diet, all of those things suddenly almost like come up to the surface and you can be even more aware of that. And then people would potentially take better care of themselves, and the amount of money we'll save in medical bills alone would be staggering. Also, yoga, if you really get into yoga, you realize that you don't need much more than a yoga mat and a flat surface to practice on, right? Where just imagine the amount of money that is being paid to gym memberships right now, some of which is not even applied, right? People are paying for their gym memberships, but they never go. Hey, Scott Trevor, it's nice having you, friend. Sending you blessings. It's nice having you. What's up with you? Today we're having a conversation about the stuff the body remembers, but the mind forgets. You know? Or don't you know? Let me know what you know. Mm-mm-mm. When and where is Mel's yoga class? Have you been, Sam? Have you been to many yoga classes with Melt? Many is true. When and where is Mel's yoga class? It is being posted, and I do believe that they're going to tell you as well in the Yoga Floga tab, right? So on the Discord, almost right up top. Let me show you like this. Right. So my Discord is available in the description of my YouTube channel. It's a little link you can click on, and it's gonna open up, and then there is my channel. And then there on the sidelines, you can see right up top, there is Yoga Floga. And then every day, I post a link. And then if you click on those links, it should open a Zoom class. And then you can join us. It's only 20 minutes, right? The entire practice only takes 20 minutes. So it's not that big of a time commitment. I have tried to join like 1.5 hour like yin yoga classes. It's hard to do that, right? One, it's hard to do that in general, and it's also harder to commit that much time to a practice. Like if I see a class is 1.5 hours long, I'm less likely to want to engage with it. So on that note as well, it's not going to be that big of a time commitment, and it will do you a great deal of good. I haven't been able to attend since having the kid, but I was an everyday student for a few years. He gives clear instructions and obviously has some grip on the metaphysics too. Yeah. So, like today, for instance, we were talking about remembering, right? And like talking about how the body remembers and how when we practice yoga, right, you can forget. For instance, maybe you practice yoga this morning, right? And then you go through your day. And like experientially, you're not thinking about the fact that you practice yoga, but then you bend down and it's just 1%. If even if 1%, 2% easier for you to bend down and pick up the thing you dropped, right? And in that way, your body remembers what your mind forgets. And like that's the kind of thing that we talked about. I do try and touch on some sort of metaphysical topic as we practice yoga to give ourselves like some sort of anchoring point. Mel's class can be accessed in the Discord Wolf in the Yoga Floga tab up top. And he teaches 30 minutes before stream every day. Yep, yep, yep. That's right. There's a little spider on my cell phone. It's one of those jumping types. He has a cool vantage point. Don't stop looking at me. Oh no, don't you fucking dare. He was like looking, and then he made eye contact with me for a second. All right, back to it. Sam and with Flossie and with Stacy McCarthy, Anyasa, and with Nishla Devi and with Monique Longer and Ryan, of course. So many wonderful teachers. Monique Loner, there we go. Stident, no Melt. I think Melt is asking the questions here. Was I asking any questions? I was asking you if you remember anything that, if your body remembers anything that your mind had forgotten. Maybe that's a little bit of a loaded question. Hey, Zach Hunter. Good morning, holy man. Zach, you honor me. Good morning to you, friend. How are you doing? How's life treating you? We're having a conversation today about remembering, bro. I have forgotten a great deal of things. Can you see that? I got bruised a little bit by my blood donation process, right? And I could potentially forget. Sometimes I do forget that that's still sensitive. And then when I add pressure to it, I suddenly, woo, my body reminds me like, hey, oh, hey, watch it. You better go watch it, oh. Ashtanga and Vinyasa, respect for the teachers of that discipline. Just the introductory days we had kicked my ass. I couldn't imagine a whole class of that show. Yeah. Ashtanga is hard. It's not easy. Vinyasa, very much so as well. Yin yoga, if you want to like push yourself, want to like put yourself in one pose that hurts. It hurts so much, and then stay there. Your whole body until it screams less, until you come out of it again, and then you go to the other side. Melt, have you seen any movies recently? Have I seen any movies recently? Yeah, I watched the Naked Gun movie, the new one with Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, and it was extremely painful. Like I kind of suffered watching that movie a little bit. I get that that's the point of it, but I don't know, yo. It was a little bit much. And the last movie that I watched before that was uh, Scarface. Yeah. I don't feel as clear as I think I should be. That's the thing that my body is almost like remembering through me right now. It's like I'm bogged down. I said it to my mom like yesterday. I feel too sober. Like this is what sobriety is like. It's like yes, yeah, being sobrietries. Respect, Melt. Takes a lot of courage. The practicing yoga? I wonder. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. MeltMore. There we go. Ashtanga. One day we'll meet one another. Not today. If you can breathe, you can yoga. Exactly. Yoga should always meet you where you are. If you push past what your body is presently capable of, you're breaking out of the essence of yoga. Yeah. Yoga is a practice, right? Yoga means to unite with the self, right? And when you're pushing yourself beyond what yourself is, then you're no longer doing yoga. Then you're doing ego. You're doing, self-factualization. Teaching takes. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Brother Bear. I don't always think about it like that, that teaching is something courageous, but it is something that I take a great deal of honor in. I do consider myself a teacher. Even though I am still very young, I'm happy that I'm getting older. The older I get, the better I get to feel about the fact that I can be a teacher, is because I know more. But I'll only be like really, really good teacher when I'm in my 60s and stuff, So I still got 33 years to go. There's actually the person who taught Ryan my practice. I'm bad with names, especially if I don't use them. Van will actually remember his name. But he's in his like late 60s and he's still practicing. He's still teaching the same class that I do as well. And he has a decent audience because of that as well, right? Like there is a certain respect that comes with time in the industry. Hey, I remember Ryan too. Ryan is still very much a part of our lives. We had a conversation with Ryan just like a while ago while we were practicing or after we practiced. It's nice having you here, dear friend, dear Sandra. Sending you love, lurk mode while I walk. Probably walking the dogs. I wouldn't be surprised. Mm-mm-mm. There's no competition in yoga. Don't compete with yourself. Collaborate. Yeah, uniting, right? Meeting yourself halfway kind of thing. I was at first shocked at the stilted nature of the class. The stilted nature of the class. I hear near continuous difficulty understanding how to move. In my class or in your classes in general, Hoopy? Yep. Yoga can increase flexibility, but can't increase stamina, right? Depends on what you consider stamina, right? Like I actually have gained a lot of stamina as it relates to my pain threshold and tolerance, right? In my yoga practice. Because I do yoga, I am more capable of being in an uncomfortable spot for an extended period of time, right? Like these poses, for example, is when you have your legs extended. Maybe you have one of them in, right? And then there is like a wow, yow, right? Like that hurts. There's some pain, maximum pain. Like this is not fun. I don't like this, but I know it's kind of good for me, right? So knowing that, I can push myself just a little bit further, and it's one of those things that you have to almost like get good at. We're not really taught how to embrace discomfort these days. We live in a very cushy world, right? All of the food we can ever want, all of the water we could ever drink, all of the comfort we could ever sleep available to us at all times. So going out of your way and actually doing something uncomfortable, that teaches you something about yourself, grows your stamina. Are you vegan? No. Uh, I would be considered the opposite of vegan. I only eat fats and protein. So yeah, unfortunately not. I would like to try veganism at some point, just for the experiment's sake, to see does it change anything for me. And if it does, then maybe I'll apply it. But again, I am very busy as it goes through my day, and eating a keto diet allows me to get all of my calories in a very short period of time. And then all those calories actually get absorbed. It's almost like staggering how well your body absorbs fats and proteins, right? Like it's shocking. It's like your body doesn't actually want to let go of any of it. Mm-mm-mm. But Melt is a good teacher for the spirit, the intelligence, and the energy. Love it, Hoopy. Melt teaching takes. It's a sequence based off a sequence built by a man named Mark with, well, thank you. Thank you, Mark. That's his name. That could be the origin of the stilted nature you detected, Toofy. I still don't know what that means. I feel so confused. I remember Ryan too, bless him. It's been my experience that whenever I am called to be the teacher, the space I occupy as the teacher feels comfortable to me. I think when the universe calls us to those places, it helps us along. It's true. Getting out of your own way kind of thing, right? That's the way I see it at the very least. Facial, it depends. Stamina can absolutely be increased in styles like Hatha when the breath is spared with the movement, encouraging those muscles to build over time. It's true. When it comes to like really like stamina building, that's where I apply dance. Right, dance definitely is my stamina practice. It's a little bit of a better heart rate booster and like something that I can push myself into. Like I can reach 120 BPM and I can stay there. Right, building that stamina a little bit. Look at this dude. He has learned him a lesson. He has learned him a lesson. Yeah. He's laying with his head on my bag. Comfy. Yeah, just as comfortable, and you don't even have to be on my lap. Yeah, I don't have to get sweaty legs. Isn't that nice? Me inspecting him. More Swedish, Swedish. Yes, dude. Mm-mm. There we go. I'm off. I live off Burger King value meals. I used to as well. PMT. When I was living in China, I was eating a lot of Burger King value meals because it was the cheapest uh, access I had to volume, right? I could eat a lot of food for like a couple of bucks, especially with those like deals, those app deals that they had. However, I came back from China 20 pounds overweight, right? So there is a drawback, unfortunately. Like, depends on what is most important to you. I was talking about stamina in sports like basketball, soccer, or rugby. Yeah, it shouldn't help that much for that. Again, flexibility is one of those things that, to me at the very least, is a better indicator of strength and longevity than just being able to like lift heavy weight or run far distance, right? Because again, as soon as you get into that like pulled in state, like I don't know if you've realized, but like the reason older people, especially like people in their late ages, get all like hunched over and curled in is because we have this stuff called fascia. All right, it's this connective tissue that literally goes from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, right? And that fascia, as you go through your life, and you don't, if you don't ever stretch or ever do yoga, becomes tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, right? Literally pulling your body, like making you shorter, physically making you shorter. Like that's how powerful that stuff is in you. And when you move, when you actually like extend into that spaces in yourself, it literally increases your longevity, right? It increases your lifespan and also increases the quality of life that you have as you're here. Something your body will remember and thank you for. Be like, thanks myself for taking care of me. Well, it's not like you have a separate set of muscles for yoga. That's also the other thing. Exactly. And flexibility is important no matter where you are, no matter what sport you do. Hi, I'm still sick, but I'm back here to join on live. Dylan, it's nice having you here, friend. I'm sorry to hear you're still sick. I hope that you're getting better a little bit. I felt a little bit snuffy as well. Maybe that is what's happening. I hope not. I haven't been sick in multiple months. I think it's the sleep. Tomorrow, I'll not sleep. Yeah. I was thinking like maybe I should just sleep 23 minutes. No. Tomorrow I won't sleep, and then I'll let you friends know if that changes something for me. Hey Miles, it's nice having you here, homie. How you doing? Today we're having a conversation, Miles, about how your body will remember things your mind will forget, right? I have scars on me. Let me show you one of them. I'm gonna have to probably take you, turn you around. There it is. You see that little X? That little X right there? I don't know where that scar came from either, but I noticed it many times. I have a little X marks the spot on my hand. Talking about that, the fact that my body, in a way, remembers that something had happened there, something had cut me, but my mind doesn't, right? And then we were applying that wisdom, that knowledge, to other parts of our life as well. And we did end up getting a little bit caught in the topic of yoga, right? Because when you do yoga, again with something like fascia, right? Like your fascia, this connective tissue you have, remembers by being like the thing that keeps you like tight, right? It's like it's like infrastructure. It's like a support system. But a support system can also be a crutch, it can be detrimental if you're so supported that you don't end up actually needing to get out of your way, do something for yourself kind of thing. And as a result, I believe at the very least, uh, your body will remember things that your mind will have long forgotten. And if that is the case, what can we do for our bodies so that when our minds have forgotten, our bodies will still be around, right? I'm thinking about the fractal of like I'm practicing daily yoga, right? And 10 years, 20 years is gonna pass, and I'll be myself. Ideally, I'll be just as able-bodied and just as capable of doing all the things that I want to be doing. And I will have, for the most part, forgotten all of the thousands upon thousands of days that I practiced yoga for, but my body will not will not forget, right? It will be strong, it will be mindful, it will be capable. Instead of nap, yoga nidra brings the mind to rest. That might be it, y'all. Maybe I should do some yoga nidra instead. Like I feel like that's in part where my problem is. Like I feel like my mind is at rest. Like having taken that midday nap, it's like I'm at ease, right? And there's a certain level of uh, interest that comes with being just in a little bit of a state of anxiousness. Like I need to say something, and then sometimes I say something interesting, right? Again, the whole fractal of like almost feeling like I'm too clear right now. It's like my clarity is allowing me to just be present, but me telling you about how beautiful the clouds are, or how the birds are flying over me, or how I've been appreciating all of the blossoming peach trees. Like it's experientially good for me, but I don't know if it's experientially good for you, right? And then I get in my own head about that where I'm like, no, bro, you need to be more interesting. And I don't know exactly how I can facilitate that. Maybe I just did. What do you think, Miles? Am I interesting? I mean, you find yourself here, right, over and over again. I wonder sometimes. I have a bunch of little cousins that's around your age, right? And they usually do find themselves gravitating towards me because I like to talk to them like they're people. Yes? You think I'm interesting? Good. Fantastic. What makes me interesting is the thing that I wonder about. Is it the fact that I'm trying to be authentic? That I'm showing you myself as I am? Right? And again, then comes the whole conversation we just had where what I am is nuanced. It's ceaselessly changing. And then I find myself worrying that I need to be more in control. That yes, what I am changes, but I can like nudge myself. For instance, like I honestly believe, right? And this is maybe my own bias, but I honestly believe my streams would be 10% more interesting if I just caffeinated myself before I came here, because I'm also not doing that right now. No caffeine for this month, right? And just like that alone adds an extra layer of like zing, right? Like my brain goes, and right now it's just like, zhuam, zhuam, zhuam. That's the way my mind feels. Where with caffeine, it's like, and then with weed, it's like, you know what I mean? No. Oh, do you think nicotine is harmful, MeltMore? Uh, I mean, yes. It's again like the poison is in the dose, right? I don't know if you know this, Fajial, but nicotine by molecular weight is more poisonous than cyanide, right? If I had like two buckets filled with, this one is filled with cyanide and this one is filled with nicotine, right? And I took a pinch of each, All right, the nicotine is the thing that kills me, not the cyanide. All right, and you are like, oh, I don't know what cyanide is, Mel. Cyanide is poison, really, really effective poison. Not the most effective poison, but effective enough. Nicotine is more poisonous than cyanide. And I can feel there's like maybe one person in here that's like, cap melt. No way. Can you tell us how nicotine is actually more poisonous than cyanide by weight? Let me know what the lethal dose of nicotine is comparatively to the lethal dose of cyanide in grams. Yeah, oh, so yes, unfortunately, nicotine is bad for you. Really bad for you. This is why my dad's logo looks like a goat. The goat, bro. The greatest of all time. Your dad is an awesome dude, bro. Does he still have his beard? I remember him shaving it a while ago. The yoga nidra instead. Instead of the nav, yoga nidra brings the mind to rest. I chanted 15 million ohms. Am I yoga respected, man? I respect you, bro. I see I'm getting celebrated. Love is true. Oh, Melt, what a delicious problem, isn't it? Yes, true. Yeah. Short answer up front. It depends what numbers you accept. Older, widely repeated estimates make nicotine look more poisonous by weight than cyanide. Am I going to get schooled? But more modern toxicology review says the lethal dose for nicotine in adults is much higher than those old numbers, which changes the comparison. Okay, all right, I'm getting educated. No, I'm still right. So okay, now these are the common quoted numbers. The common quoted numbers, the older sources, is that nicotine between 40 and 60 milligrams is lethal, right? That's like milligrams. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing, like this little sticky, all right, barely heavy enough for it to register properly as a weight in my hand, right? If you had that much nicotine, dead, just dead, all right, dead. Where you could eat 3 times, basically. Yeah, 200 to 300 milligrams of cyanide is poisonous. If you use the older numbers. More careful and modern estimates. A 2013 review and other recent toxicology assessments argue that the lower limit for fatal oral nicotine in adults is closer to 500 to 1,000 milligrams. How about that? Much higher than the historical cited number. The review estimated an oral LD50. In other words, if you administer a dose and you can continue administering higher and higher doses to a control group, at which point does 50% of the control group die because of that administration, right? Is in the range of 6.5 to 13 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, which for a 70 kilogram adult, I'm about 80 kilograms, is 450 to 900 milligrams of nicotine. Whereas cyanide salts still have very low lethal doses by oral ingestion, often quoted as 140 to 300 milligrams, LD100. Oh, okay, so the 140 milligrams is LD50, and between 200 and 300 is LD100, so takes out everyone. MeltMore, do you use skincare products? No. The only skincare product that I'm using right now is like technically sunscreen, right? So technically, yes, I do use skincare products, but I don't see them. I see them as like more protective. And then the stuff that I put on my skin, and that's why I don't necessarily consider it a product, is beef tallow. Literally whipped up beef tallow. So literally animal fats that I put on my face. And I believe that it's been better for my skin than the other stuff that I've been using. I do have a pimple now again, right? But the only reason it's visible is because I couldn't leave it alone. I could feel it, and then it got popped. It's not settled. As a simple one-line fact. Older textbooks and many web pages repeat the nicotine fatal dose estimates, which makes nicotine appear more toxic than cyanide by weight. However, the modern views question that low nicotine number and suggest that the actual fatal dose is closer to half a gram to a gram. How about that? I got schooled. Man, still, a gram is nothing, right? A gram is 1/5 of a teaspoon of stuff, right? Think about how easy it is to like put 2 teaspoons of sugar in your coffee, right? Boom, 10 grams of sugar, right? 10 times the amount of if it was nicotine for it to kill you. The more we know. Nicotine is highly addictive as well, right? That's the other side of it, Fazel. Like, unfortunately, uh, it doesn't serve your body, and it tries to convince your body that it is necessary, right? And it does give you that tingly feeling, right? Which can be nice, especially as it relates to like we human beings like feeling things in general, and being able to administer vape or whatever and then feel bzz, right? It's like control. However, that thing starts controlling you because now it becomes this pattern of like, oh, let me do that thing again that I think I like doing, right? And it doesn't actually do anything for you. Uh, it adds no value. Some people were like arguing. I'm wondering if the data is out on that. Is it true that nicotine stimulates white blood cell production? I remember that that was also something that was floating in the zeitgeist of the mind. Is there any benefit to nicotine consumption? Someone asked me if nicotine is good for you. I, of course, don't think it is, especially because it's so highly addictive in nature. Isn't it true that it's more addictive than most substances on the earth when it relates to like trying to convince you to do something, even though it adds no actual value, right? Like some of the other substances that people get addicted to, like methamphetamine or fentanyl, like that stuff still does something, right? Like if you're addicted to meth, you probably have low dopamine levels, and then you want to facilitate those dopamine levels so you can do something, so you can still eat your food or, you know, do your job or whatever. And the same is true for like the fentanyl fractal. Like when you become dependent on that stuff, your body is in literal pain, right? Baseline pain, and then you want to take the substance to just get away from that pain. Where nicotine is just addiction for the sake of addiction. Like, yeah, do the thing. MeltMore, what subjects did you study at university? I didn't go to university, dear friend. Yo, I'm going to leave. I might see you later. Bye. Cheers, homie. It was nice having you. Does nicotine stimulate white blood cell production? No. Nicotine doesn't boost. Okay, there we go. That got debunked. What we do know is that nicotine does affect the immune system in a complex way. It damages the inflammatory pathways through nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. Acetylcholine, yeah, nicotinic acetylcholine receptors on the immune cells. While in other contexts, it can promote inflammatory activity. Yeah, so you're causing inflammation all over your body. Anywhere you have immune system, and a hot tip, everywhere you have immune system, anywhere you have immune system, inflammation when you smoke nicotine. Smoking in general is associated with higher white blood cell counts, but that's mainly a response to the irritation and inflammation and the oxidative stress and tissue damage caused by smoke, not a beneficial stimulation. Chronic elevated white blood cell count from smoking is actually a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. So the idea that nicotine increases white blood cell count comes from the observation of smokers, but not as a health benefit. It's more like the body's chronic stress response. Yeah. Are there benefits to nicotine? It can be cognitively sharpening, allowing for working memory and reaction time to be boosted in the short term. That's why some people report feeling clearer or more focused with nicotine. The neurological research. There's ongoing investigation into nicotine for conditions like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and ADHD, and ulcerative colitis. The idea is that it's a receptor action might protect neurons or modulate inflammation, but none of this justifies casual use. These are highly controlled research contexts. The downside, the benefits are unfortunately short lived and tolerance builds up real quick, right? Like the first time you hit a vape in a long time, it really hits you. And then the second time, it hits you. And then the third time, you're like, why am I doing this? Right? Like it happens just like that. Builds really quickly, and withdrawal creates the illusion that nicotine is actually improving baseline function when it really is just relieving the cravings. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like it's literally just it's lying to you. It's a compound that lies to you. It's like, yeah, you need me. And then the person that's addicted to nicotine hits nicotine again, and then it like feels like a sense of relief, but it's just it's just lying to you. How addictive is nicotine? Yes, nicotine is amongst the most addictive drugs known to man. The US Surgeon General and HWO put it in the same class as heroin and cocaine in terms of how quickly dependence develops. What's up, bro? I'm seeing you every day now. Like, what the fuck? I show up every day, Oscar. Every single day, I'm gonna be here. And if you are on your phone every day, then you better believe I'm gonna see you or I'm gonna watch you. Sending you love, Oscar. It's nice having you. It hooks people not just chemically, but behaviorally, right? It's nice to hold on to something in general, and then it's nice to taste flavor, right? So it's a behavioral addiction as well. Rituals of smoking or vaping, quick onset of effects. That's the big one, right? Is that you can do this thing and then seconds later, whoa, experience, right? That's also like very addictive. And then the frequent dosing all strengthens the habit, right? That's the big problem with nicotine as well, is that you can do it all day, every day, and it doesn't like ruin your life in the same way that other substances might. Like you can sit in your office and hit your vape and still do your work. And in that way, it's even more dangerous because you can do it whenever you want. What's the difference between nicotine? What's different about nicotine? Unlike heroin or alcohol, it doesn't cause extreme intoxication or impairment. Yep. So people can use it constantly without obvious disruption. How, like, me being like, and then the next point is literally that. Yeah, without obvious disruption, making it a quiet tyrant of addiction. As you said, it's compelling you to keep dosing without adding any real nourishment, growth, or any long term value to your life. How long are you going to keep going? I mean, streaming forever. Forever, Oscar. Forever. I'll never, ever stop. Oh, the only thing that could hope to stop me is death. And I've planned to defeat death as well. Oh, I'm already ready. Oh, I already have all of my weapons. Death can come. I'm gonna kill death. Oh. I'm joking, of course. Or am I? I'm not stopping. Like, I really do. I'm not even joking, Oscar. I'm serious about that. I'm not stopping. Like, for me, the plan is to, like, go forever. I want to live for at least 1,000 years. And maybe after, like, 1,000 years, I'll reevaluate. Do I still want to do daily live streams? But I'm probably still gonna go. I'm like, yeah, every day is another day to do a live stream. All right, so I will. Cigs and vapes are the worst thing you can do to yourself. Any other drug is better. Anything is better. What's up, Mel? Hey, Joe World. It's nice having you here, friend. It's true. Again, right? Like some of you friends might have more money than I do, but I can't justify that part of it either. All right, that when you become addicted to nicotine, it's you become a customer for life, right? And again, the people that are selling you that stuff do not care about your well-being. They care about you being a customer, you being a product consumer, right? And in that way, I feel like it's extra evil because it's just they're stealing from you, right? If you're a smoker right now and you stop smoking and you put that money into Bitcoin, for example, right? 20 years from now, you'll be in better health and you'll be in a better financial position as well in your life, right? Where the alternative is like smoke cigarettes and vapes for the next 20 years, have less money and less health, right? Like in that way, that's the way my mind calculates the cost analysis for every single decision I make. It's like, is this 20 years from now going to be something I'm super stoked about doing? Right? Unfortunately, nicotine doesn't have a place to stand on. I'll never stop watching you every day then. Oh, Oscar, I'll keep you to that. I'll look for you, bro. And then one day Oscar doesn't show up, bro. Suddenly kicks down doors. Like, what? Is that your lawn? I see you there every day. It's my parents' lawn, technically. But yeah, we've lived here for close to 2 decades. We haven't moved. We haven't had any reason to, but it is a little bit in the middle of nowhere, right? So it adds what it does. You live with your parents, Meltmore. At this moment in time, I do, Fajier. Fajial. I do. I do live with my parents. It's very expensive to live by yourself. I did go and live by myself. I lived with roommates last year, and uh, I lost. I lost at least 10,000 US dollars worth of stuff because the place that I was living in wasn't safe. So I like had multiple break-ins. So like they stole so much of my stuff, my laptops and my SSDs and my batteries to fight against load shedding, and my sound system and my Dynavap and my microphones and my bag and my clothing and my shoes. And they broke the window of my mom's car, so that had to be paid for as well. Yeah, I got asked. Oh, I got so asked. Living by myself has not been good to me pretty much ever. And bro, I gotta go. It was nice having you here, friend. Sweet Meltmore. It's okay. Love is true. Oh, let me finish reading this little bitty. Mm, is nicotine good for you? No, not in any general sense. It can sharpen your cognition for a moment, but is being researched in specific medical settings. But as a lifestyle substance, it mostly extracts value. Heightened addiction, cardiovascular stress, and no long term upside. Why people think it helps. Much of nicotine's benefits is actually the relief of withdrawal. People feel calmer, more focused, or soothed after dosing themselves. But that's because their body is temporarily returning to normal from the deficits that the nicotine itself created. A way you could frame this to a community talk. How about that? Nicotine is like a trickster. It whispers focus, clarity, and calm, but it mostly delivers chains. Smoking raises white blood cells not because you're stronger, but because your body is constantly under siege. The so called benefits of nicotine are fleeting. The real effects is convincing you that you need it when in truth you were whole without it. Addiction without nourishment, persuasion without value. Yeah, it steals from you. It steals a lot. And now we're going to touch on that little body keeps a score bit that we started the stream with. Melt, what do you do when you feel anxious? I take a deep breath. Fajer, Fajel, Faisal. I keep butchering your name. I'm so sorry. Like that's the best remedy that I found is like taking real deep breaths. Helps. But to be completely honest, I find myself in that antsy, kind of like anxious state of like, oh, and when I'm in that state, I usually just abide by it. Fajal, I feel into it. I'm like, oh, this is how I'm feeling now, you know, and I be with it. Unfortunately, this is at least what I found about myself, and I'm projecting a little bit. Your whole system, your brain and your body, is easily bored, right? And in the same way that you can be bored with an experience, you'll get bored with being anxious too, right? At some point, you're going to feel like, okay, surely there's something else. Surely there's something better for me to experience. Do exercise, right? If you're feeling anxious, channel it. Exercise. Do some push-ups. Do some pull-ups, right? Get your systems activated, right? Get your heart rate up. Get into a heavy state of breathing, and then as your body calms down again from that activated state, you'll feel less anxious as well. Those are some little key points of advice for you, dear friend. Dude, trauma lives in the body. I'm gonna read the little precept too. Bezel van der Kolk is a psychiatrist who spent decades working with trauma survivors. The book is essentially about how trauma is not just a psychological event, but also a biological one. Good tips, Mel? Try it, my friend. I know I also deal with anxiety and stuff, so I understand. It imprints itself into the body. Core themes and messages. Trauma lives in the body. Even if your conscious mind forgets or represses an event, the body stores the memory, intention, patterns, scars, postures, immune responses, even how the nervous system regulates itself. The limit of talk therapy. Words alone don't, don't necessarily reach the body's memory. Trauma survivors often feel disconnected from themselves. So van der Kolk emphasizes that healing needs more than storytelling. Embodiment practices heal. Approaches. Approaches like yoga, breath work, EMDR, neurofeedback, and somatic therapies allow people to feel safe in their bodies again. He talks a lot about yoga specifically as a way to calm and reclaim your presence. Integration, not erasure. The body can't just delete your trauma, but it can integrate it so it doesn't keep hijacking your life. The goal is not forgetting, but living freely despite what has happened. The nervous system as a truth teller. Trauma shows up in hyperarousal, being always on edge, or hypoarousal, being numb or checked out. Healing often means relearning to regulate the nervous system and build a sense of safety. MeltMore, your profession is working as a yoga instructor and doing digital art. Essentially, yeah. I am a certified yoga instructor, right? I got my 200-hour course and I have a daily class. And then I make art, right? Like those, if you have to like ask from a profession, right? What how do I earn money? Yes. Making digital art and giving yoga classes are my primary breadwinners in my life right now. I enjoy both, right? I am a very strong believer in only doing the things that bring your life deep satisfaction, right? Where you can like really notice I am adding value to the world, right? And I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to earn money, but it is a very good way to find life satisfaction. Nuance for your conversation. You're already circling something subtle. The scar you don't remember is a teacher. Your mind let it go, but your body kept a trace. That doesn't mean it's a bad memory. It just means your body knew what to keep and what not to burden your conscious mind with. Caring for your body is a form of future memory. I also want to make art using traditional tools. Do so, dear friend. Like making art, I believe, is for the artist, right? You should make art that you love, right? Like that's the first thing that you need to kind of like apply. Facial is like if you love making something, right? Then you can finish making something and then step back and be like, oh, that's nice, that's cute, that's special. Then you've made art, right? Art is Here we go. Art is a form of expression, right? And it's always going to be beneficial to the self to express itself, right? That's the reason we use words. That's the reason we dress ourselves in clothing in certain ways. That's the reason we keep ourselves busy with our time. All of it is a form of self expression. Art is just a very deliberate choice to do so. Caring for your body is a form of future memory. Every stretch, every healthy choice, every breath in yoga is a deposit into a kind of embodied trust fund. When your mind grows older and forgets, your body will still move with the grace and resilience that you've cultivated. First, I need to learn the fundamentals. It's true. Spend some time practicing, dear friend. There's so many videos online these days that will give you some proper structure as to like what you need to get good at, right? You're very right about the fundamentals. It's a good place to start. Practice, practice, practice. It's the best thing that you can do for yourself. And unfortunately, practicing is not always the most enjoyable thing, but finding joy in your continued improvement can be. You got this, friend. Attention and forgetting are not the opposite, they work together. You give attention now so that later you can let go. You rehearse presence so that when you no longer remember why, presence is still your baseline. And here is something for the community: the mind forgets, the body remembers. Sometimes that feels like a burden, like scars and aches or tension, but it can also be a blessing. When we practice yoga, when we breathe deeply, when we live kindly towards our body, we are teaching it lessons the mind doesn't need to hold on to. Later, even if memory fades, the body will carry those lessons forward. The body keeps a score, but we can choose to write a score of harmony instead of pain. That's nice. All right, we've done it. We've shown up on another day for one another. I can show you friends some art, and then I can say you some goodbye. I didn't like this piece of art yesterday for some reason, right? Like I was like having a really hard time getting something that I was satisfied with. And I was like, I spent like 3 hours, 3 hours trying. And this is what we ended up with. Just very orange. We did wear the orange scarf yesterday. But like to add to the fractal that you were asking about the anxiety, like I was in an anxious state because I couldn't get my art to look the way that I wanted it to. Right? And I don't think it's bad, but like this was the previous day one. I think it's because the colors were too similar. I think maybe that's why I was having a hard time. It's like the colors melted into itself too much. And I was like trying. I was just beating my head against my software, like, please, please, please satisfy me. So like that's the other side of it, bro, is that you can also make art and learn a lot about yourself, let's say. Yeah. All right. You've seen, now to listen. 1,420 Patreon posts. That's a lot of Patreon posts. Okay, it's working. Nice. The tailings of speech. We talked a little bit about extracting gold from ore yesterday. So, like, this has something to do with that as well. The tailings of speech. We learn to weigh the world in parts per million, sifting mountains for a few bright grams of gold. Our hands grew clever, our minds sharper still, feeling essence from excess truth from noise, vitamins from the pulp of fruit, meaning from the marrow of sound. But each time we strike, we leave behind a shadow, a heap of rock, a silence too jagged to speak, a wilderness of words that language can't cast aside, has cast aside. What if the waste is not waste? What if tailings, toxic and gray, still carry the memory of mountains, the weight of time, the possibility of bricks, of shelter, of roads that carry us elsewhere? Perhaps our error is not extracting, but in forgetting that the leftovers also live. So I turn back to the rubble, to the unsaid, to the sentences too heavy for my tongue, and I wonder, can I build a home here? Among the ruins of what speech discarded, where silence glitters as bright as gold. Your art reminds me of some dream pop music. Nice. I'll take that. Thank you, Fajal, for joining. Thank you, friends, for spending some time here with me. It really is and continues to be a pleasure to show up here with you, friends. We're never more than the thought away, dear ones. I appreciate you joining me here again. I'll say goodbye for today, and then I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you, dear ones. I appreciate your presence. Love is true till we do it again. Goodbye for now. Cheers, everybody.